As fantastic a CFP as Mel O is, as wonderful an attorney as I am, and as good as Stormy is at whatever it is he does, please do note that anything said in our podcasts are our opinions alone and are not meant to be taken as financial or legal advice.
Welcome to Finances, the Other F Word, a Gen Xer podcast for musicians and music lovers, where we discuss money and music without all the pretentious bullshit. Here are your hosts, Zoe Terry, attorney at large, Stormy Andrews, founder of Yokel Local Marketing, and Mel O, certified financial planner and author of Finances, the Other F Word. Listener discretion is advised.
That's coming up, so save it. Okay.
And I know exactly how they got popular, but with that. We're recording?
Yeah.
That can go in our bloopers.
Yeah. Because everybody's going to want to see those. Hey, guys.
Like that time sorry.
Yes. No, that time we edited out.
We did.
And we burnt that. Yes.
I said that.
Ooh.
Yes. He's still alive.
Now we have to start all over again.
I know. I'll just start.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, no, she did it. But she tried to do it like she wouldn't hear it. She's like, yeah, but doesn't he have AIDS? Like that. And I'm like, if you see on the visual, I do this. I'm like, dude, I'm shushing you. That's a big deal when I'm shushing you. Okay. Wow. All right. Here we go. I'm going to start now. Okay. Hey guys, welcome to Finances, the Other F Word. Today on the podcast, we are going to be talking about tariffs. They're all in the news. But first, we have Stormy back. Yay! Yay, we missed Stormy so much. So
I don't know. My mini-me was here taking care of business.
He's a little dull, I have to say.
Well, I mean, if he is his mini-me, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes,
yeah.
but no, we are super happy to have testosterone back in effect. And I have to do two quick corrections.
Okay.
Number one, when we did one of our past podcasts on television themes and movie themes, I had incorrectly told Zoe that CSI Miami theme song from The Who was Baba O'Reilly, and it is actually Won't Get Fooled Again.
Oh,
and a listener called me out. I'm correcting it. So CSI Miami is Won't Get Fooled Again, not Baba O'Reilly. So I'm sorry about that, Zoe. Not that you disputed it, but... Do you remember the podcast?
Yeah, but it's CSI Las Vegas is The Who, right?
There's more CSIs?
Oh my God! It's
Are you kidding me?
CSI Las Vegas.
I don't watch
Miami,
CSI.
CSI
It started off with Vegas.
New York. It's the Las Vegas one. That's the Who are you? Who?
Actually,
Yeah, that's Vegas.
Yeah, that's Vegas one.
that's a different song again. That's Who Are You? This is Won't Get Fooled Again.
Well, you're gonna
That's
have
where
to
he screams.
correct yourself.
Yeah, no, you have to correct yourself because I said Baba O'Reilly, but it's actually Won't Get Fooled Again. And then in the other podcast, you sang the same song.
Yeah.
And it's still wrong.
In what way?
Because the song is called Won't Get Fooled Again.
But by
The Who.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yes. And a second correction.
CSI Las Vegas, just so you're clear.
All right. Well, I had no idea there was multiple ones, but feeling that
Wait
that
a
was
second. You live in Las Vegas, and CSI started in Las Vegas.
Well, did they? I don't remember them recording anything.
Okay, let me share this with you.
They filmed
okay?
a lot of it in California.
So because I know everything.
Okay.
So CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, Las Vegas, is Who Are You, right? That's the original. Then CSI Miami is Won't Get Fooled Again.
Okay, so
CSI
I'm thinking
New
Miami.
York is Baba O'Reilly.
Oh my God, they
And
love The Who.
CSI Cyber is I Can See for Miles.
I can see for miles.
There it is.
And I had first of all, I had no idea there was a plethora of CSIs.
You can correct yourself all
Yes.
over
So
again.
okay,
madam.
so CSI No, I said CSI Miami, and you guys said no, it was Las Vegas. I said CSI Miami is Won't Get Fooled Again, and he just confirmed it.
But we were talking about the.
Okay, but I wasn't wrong.
But neither was I.
Okay, whatever. and then the second correction is on the Fire Festival episode, I was lightheartedly making fun of Ja Rule's eyes.
Okay.
And the other day I was trying to explain to one of my friends a about Ja Rule's eyes, and there's this one very specific video that really shows kind of the weirdness of his eyes, and I could not remember the name of the song, so I spent 15 to 20 minutes going through Ja Rule video after Ja Rule video.
Ooh, painful.
Actually, he is pretty fucking fine. I did not.
Those eyes?
Despite the eyes. Oh, yes. Despite the eyes. So when I was watching the videos, I was like, oh, and as the videos progressed, he got buffer and buffer, and I was like, holy crap. So, you know what, Ja Rule, I don't really give a fuck about your eyes. You're a little hottie. So I had
Just
to make
keep
this.
them closed, tell him.
There you go. Hey, whatever. Works for me. You know, he can.
So that is an official correction.
That's an
that you're
official
making?
correction.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you guys feel free to make official corrections as you have them.
I have no need to correct myself.
I don't make mistakes.
Me neither.
That's because I edit out
High
both
five.
of your mistakes.
We need to watch who we bring on the show with us, Zoe.
I edit out both your mistakes. That's why.
Yeah, okay. I will accept that.
Exactly. Okay, so today we're talking a little bit about tariffs, and we're gonna do this kind of in reverse because since this episode's gonna be a little financial heavy, we really want to get out of. And you know what? I always breathe
I breathe
when I'm
too.
talking.
Could you try not
Yeah.
to breathe? It would really
I
make
know.
my life a whole lot better.
Yeah.
Because I notice my speech pattern as I talk, and then I breathe, and it drives me crazy, and I edit it out all the time. So
You
as
edit out
I
your
got ready
breathing.
to say it, I did another breath, and now it's gonna plague my whole fucking episode. Anyway, so tariffs have been in the like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, listen. Actually, don't listen.
Yeah,
No.
listen.
I'm gonna
listen
edit
for,
them out. No, don't. 'cause
Listen, listeners.
Listen for
we
Mel's
want you to
breathing.
comment every time you hear Mel
It's
O's
gonna be like a
breathing.
mouth. I'm gonna be like a mouth breather over
I
here.
think she
Take a
breathed
drink
14
every
times.
time Mel breathes. It can be a drinking game.
It could be
Right.
a drinking game, but then I'd have to keep all of my breaths in, and I don't know. Sometimes I get a little.
I'd like you to keep them in as long as possible.
All right, so I'm gonna take a breath. That was good and cleansing. So tariffs have been in the news a lot lately. So we were in negotiations with China for almost a year now. The first tariffs came out at the beginning of 2018. They were only supposed to last for about 90 days. Ha ha ha. And then, of course, here we are now in 2019, and we still do not have a resolution.
What?
Yes, very true. And I'm trying not to breathe as I'm talking. So China, last month or at the beginning of this month, I can't really remember what it was, China and the USA were supposed to be close to having an agreement on fixing the tariffs. And of course, that all fell apart. In retaliation, as happens with most trade wars and tariffs situation, China came out and they said, well, we're going to up our tariffs on your imports, and they're going to go effect as of June 1st. So we're now at a situation where now Trump has then again said that he's going to raise tariffs on their goods, and basically there's going to be everything that comes in from China we're going to have tariffs on. So
Everything?
everything. So let's talk a little bit about let's just explain what imports and exports are and those types of things. If you are a country, if China is sending goods out to us, to the United States, they are exporting goods to the United States. They are exiting China. They are coming into the United States. We are importing them in. Obviously, in the reverse, if we send things out to China, at that point, we are the exporter and they are the importer at that time. When you have a trade deficit, what that means is that at that time, the country is importing more things than they're sending out. So at this time, we have a pretty significant trade deficit with China. And the reason why is because we are taking in more goods from China than we are sending out to China, thus causes a deficit. And of course, the reverse of that would be and I just breathed again. I know. It would be whatever. I got to breathe, guys. Okay? I got to breathe.
Okay, go
Yeah,
on then.
sorry. The reverse of that would be if we exported more goods than we took in, we would have a surplus. So when they talk about trade deficit, trade surplus, that's all they're talking about.
Okay.
Okay, we're good so far?
Good.
Everybody
Okay.
breathing still?
Yep.
I'm doing it quietly, as
Are you
most
doing it
normal
quietly?
people do, but yep.
Maybe I am a loud mouth breather, but I
Yeah.
don't snore.
We were going to talk to you about that.
Were you? Oh,
were
and
gonna
now
do
it's
it off the
public.
air, but,
And now it's public. All right, so let's go through a couple quick examples as far as how tariffs work. And if you are not a fan of tariffs or whatever, you can always fast forward to the end of the podcast when Zoe will be talking about some bans from other countries.
And I probably will not be breathing as heavily either. So
That's
yeah,
because
whole
she's
lot
not
more
as
fun.
she's not as exciting as me
Okay.
and as excited. Yeah, see, my just because my pulse is racing.
I've seen forums talking about both of you, but we won't go
Yeah.
there during the show.
Yeah, it's
All right, I
another
got
story.
pictures, is what I'm saying. Okay, so let's just start with a basic example, and let's try to cover a couple things. Let's assume that you have an item in the United States that sells for $25. Okay,
Why are you undressing?
I was taking
Yeah.
up because it's tariffs. Because
got
tariffs
it.
work me
So
up.
exciting. I need
I'm
to
so-
remove
I'm-
clothing.
I'm breathing. I got clothing. I got bracelets, but I kept my watch on. So if my shirt starts coming off, then we're gonna have a different conversation. But right now, guys, it's just jewelry. All right, because I'm classy.
Okay.
So, all right. So going back to my example, Stormy, let me lean back from the microphone. Oh, that was a good breath. That was a good breath. I'm breathing. It's bothering me.
Bothering us all.
I know. So let's say that you have an item in America that's $30, and you have an item from overseas that's the same item that's $25, but let's say that there's a $5 tariff that's implemented on it.
Okay.
That would be about a 26% tariff, which most of the tariffs between the two countries, 25 is the max, except for some shoe importers, it's around 30%, but let's just go with that. Now, if you have an American item that's $30 and you have an import item that's $25 with a $5 tariff, in our open market, both of those items would be $30. The American widget at $30 and the imported Chinese widget at $30. If that's the case, there's no reason really, there's no effect on a consumer. It's not going to be effective because if you have two different items, and usually if you have a tariff coming in, that means that they were able to create whatever that widget is for cheaper and more efficiently over in the other country.
Right.
So 9 times out of 10 is going to be made better. So just think of any of our electronics that come from overseas. They're typically made, unfortunately, a little bit better than they are here in America. So if I have two items on par with each other at $30 and $30, you might want to buy American, but if you know that this other country or this other company from this other country produces better goods for $30, you're still going to end up buying that actual item.
Right.
So there's really nothing that happens, and it doesn't do anything. It doesn't affect the American consumer, but it doesn't achieve anything. Now, let's assume that you have a $30 widget, and you have a widget coming in from another country, and the tariff makes it $40. Now you have a $30 American widget, and you have a $40 other widget with the tariff. You would assume at that time that it would make you want to buy American.
Right.
Okay. However, you have to think of it in this way, is that sometimes by doing that, you're actually hurting the country, hurting the United States. So you want to buy American, but what that means is that the country that just imported those goods to you now is not selling as many imported goods, which means that they have less money in their pocket, which sounds like, yeah, that's exactly what we want to happen. But the problem is then they can't turn around and buy our goods.
Wow.
So if everything is in equilibrium, as far as when an economic standpoint comes from, everybody would be doing what is the most efficient for them. They would be creating the most efficient widgets. And in economics, what you want to do is you want to be able to buy the cheapest widgets out there and buy as many of them as you want to. So everybody would need to be making the widgets that are the most efficient for their country, maybe due to geography, infrastructure, anything like that. So if we go back to the equal pricing, again, we have, a $30 American widget, a $25 imported widget with a $5 tariff. What ends up happening is that there's a lot of unseen consequences from that you don't see, because if you have a $30 American item and a $30 imported item, both the same thing, there's now no cheaper alternative. Okay.
Right.
Do you follow me?
We follow you.
Are you guys still awake?
We're still awake.
Okay, you still breathing?
Stop yawning, Zoe.
Oh,
but I'm awake.
I'm yawning inside.
You're yawning inside? Breathe. Just let it out.
Yep.
Let it out. And so, normally if you could buy, if you had something at $30 and you had an imported item at $25, what that would allow you is that would give you an extra $5 in your pocket
Right.
that you could actually take and give it to other sectors of the American economy. All right? So there's a lot of confusion where even if you put a tariff on an imported item and you bring it up to the American standard, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're specifically helping out the economy. And then if you're looking at that from an equal pricing standpoint, talking about no cheaper alternative, another consequence of that you don't see, let's say that you're a musician, okay? And I know you can't buy guitars for $25 or $30, but let's just go with this. And you have a Korean guitar for $25 and an American guitar for $30. at some point there's a population of people that are going to not be able to buy an American guitar due to that simple $5 difference. And it's on a graded scale, and it's a whole bunch of economic stuff. But basically, what you start doing is you start Xing out all of the other industries that could have arose from the people buying at a lower entry point, because the lower the prices, the higher the demand goes. So with the $25 guitar, the more people that could buy it, all those other industries that you don't see, like the people who sell the guitars, the people who fix the guitars, the people who sell guitar accessories, all of those industries do not exist and have never actually came to fruition because this lower price option has been eliminated out of the economy. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Is it? I hope the listeners.
I'm just trying to figure out where she's going with this, because we've got this 25 and 30. I'm there.
25. Oh, that was the previous example.
Yeah, but now it's a guitar. I want to see the drum sets. Are those coming up next?
No, they're not coming up next. But you know what? I totally should have done that. I know. So another thing that we've heard lately is that, you know, having the tariffs are going to actually help create jobs and those kinds of things. But what happens a lot of times is anytime you implement tariffs, the tariffs are immediately put on mostly in commodities. So for those of you who don't remember from previous podcasts, a commodity is something that's the same regardless where you buy it. So if I buy a carrot in New York or a carrot in Nevada, it's a carrot, okay? If I buy lettuce in Wyoming or lettuce in Florida, it's lettuce. It's a commodity. It's all the same thing. And what often is the target of tariffs is a lot of the agricultural and commodity products, and that's what's happening right now within the Midwest, because the tariffs are starting to affect them in the soybean and those types of things. And so what you have is you have these consumer staples like food that is starting to get tariffs raised, on them. And what ends up happening is that people have actually less money to do other things with. So it's kind of the same thing, but it's actually in reverse. And it unfortunately hits the most vulnerable of our population. And this is, I'm not telling you anything new, but I just want you guys to kind of understand and get away from all the politics of the tariffs and just understand from an economic standpoint, kind of what the tariffs do. Now, another thing that they often say with tariffs is that it creates other industries and makes other industries possible. So, for instance, we're going to go back to my guitar. Okay, let's say that you have a $30 guitar in America. The imported guitars, their tariffs are so high that it's like $60 a guitar now. Right. And so America says, hey, we can make it cheaper if we just make it here. So then you could have the argument that, now we've created this industry that makes guitars and everything, and that's because of the tariffs made it so high. Well, first of all, you haven't created new jobs. You've just moved jobs, people who had other jobs, and moved them into that industry. And from an economic standpoint, you've actually dropped productivity because you've taken something that we couldn't do very well as a country for, again, numerous reasons, geography and the fact that our workers are paid higher. And you've put them in a position where now they're creating an object. The whole point of economics is efficiency. If Korea can make guitars better and faster and cheaper than us, and we put basically tariffs on them, prematurely, falsifying the actual dollar of it, and then we create an industry here, what we just in turn done is we've made something that is not efficient for us to do. Our productivity has actually dropped. And the consumer is still paying a higher price, because if we're brand new at guitar making, we have to build the infrastructure for guitar making, and we have to supplement that like any small business with higher prices typically. So what a tariff does is it actually takes a small portion of the economy or manufacturers. It helps prop them up to make them bigger, even though they're inefficient. And the guys who are efficient and are so efficient that they're able to export out the goods from the United States to China, now it's actually shrinking them. So it's doing the reverse of what you would think that should happen with the effects of the tariffs. So
why do a tariff? I mean, it sounds like I've heard a tariff is essentially a tax. Would you say it's a tax?
Yeah.
On top of all the other taxes?
Yeah. So the reason why they have tariffs out currently right now is because of the simple fact that they said that there's unfair trade practices going on, and then they also said that American companies have to turn over their intellectual property to China.
Okay.
But it's not just China, right? It's Germany, it's Mexico, it's Canada. There's a whole big thing going on with China about their steel. but we get more still from Canada than we do China. But because China's the target now, that's kind of the focus. So, yeah, so in response to, yes, it's like a tax. And the thing with tariffs that's very confusing to people is that often it's tweeted out by the administration that, we have charged China with X amount of dollars in tariffs, or that China has paid us X amount of dollars in tariffs. China is not paying the tariffs. Okay, that's not how tariffs work. So what happens is that I have Nike tennis shoes that are coming from China. They come over to the stateside. I'm the importer of the good. I pay the tariff. I'm paying it. I'm Nike. I'm paying the tariff to bring the goods in the country. If I send stuff over to China and they tariff it, then that importer pays it. So China is not paying our tariffs, guys. Okay. And so this seems to be a very big bone of confusion. So if I'm Nike and I have shoes coming in, and obviously the tariffs are coming in, and I'm paying more, then the natural course of action is I could do a couple different things. A couple things could happen. The manufacturer in China could cut their prices down so that the United States wouldn't be affected by that, which is just not going to happen.
Right.
Okay. Or the company could eat the difference, which you also know is not going to happen, because they have shareholders to protect, and we'll kind of come back to that in a minute, or they can pass it on to the consumer. And that's typically what ends up happening. So to think that there's any way that the tariff is not going to ultimately affect the end consumer just doesn't make a lot of sense. And the worst part of all of this is that when you're talking about a person buying stock, say again from, Adidas or Nike, Nike is going to raise the prices on their tennis shoes and to make sure that they keep their profit margins in check, because as shareholders of the company, you want to make sure that you don't lose value in your stock.
Right.
What's really fucked up, though, is that if you take the poorest people in the United States, they don't own stock. So if I own stock in Nike and they raise their prices on Nike tennis shoes, at worst, my stock should stay theoretically at the same price. Okay. Or depending on how they do it, maybe slightly more, but it's going to keep my worth in the company alive. But what happens is for most of the poorest parts of our nation, they don't have the money to invest. So they're not getting the benefit of having a stock value stay at par, but they are having to buy Nikes at a higher cost.
Right.
So it's kind of like this double whammy on non-shareholders and, those types of things. And there's also another thing that there's a belief that tariffs actually increase wages because, at some point what is happening is that we are starting to have wage stagnation, meaning that people's wages aren't going up, and sometimes we have wage decreases, but right now wage stagnation. But what ends up happening is that when prices go up on goods, demand drops. That's the thing with economics 101. Cheaper something is, the more people want to buy it, and vice versa to that. So if you have items that are more expensive, either due because we're not efficient at making them or because of the tariffs applied to them or any of that cause, what ends up happening is demand drops off. And when demand drops off, you don't need that many employees. And what happens is you lay off those employees. And then if you take those people that are laid off and you include the tariffs on it, then there's less going out throughout the rest of the economy. So where we might see a tariff come in and we might see the guitar industry open up and all these people are getting employed in the guitar industry, in the interim, we say, hey, this is great. Look at all these people that are putting to work. And it's a good thing to hang your hat on to say, hey, look how many I created X amount of jobs by putting on this tariffs. But what you can't measure is the long-term effects of what happens as each of those $5 chunks get taken out of people's pockets and they can spend less and less. And what happens is that then all of the other places that they would have spent that money actually starts laying off those people. And then the people that went to the guitar making factory just came from another place. So there was no net gain on either side. It was a restructuring, but it didn't actually do anything really helpful. So one of the other things that happens when you have tariffs in place, you have China putting tariffs on us, we're putting tariffs on China. So what ends up happening is all of these lobbyist groups are concerned about trying to protect their sector. You have soybean lobbyists, you have automobile industry lobbyists, and what ends up happening is that when you have a situation where you have high tariffs, more lobbyists actually end up going to the Capitol to try to vie for their industry. And so instead of draining a swamp, for instance, you're actually creating more lobbyists and more people storming the Capitol and more, special interest groups and that kind of stuff. Another thing, at least going on right now, is we are late in our economic cycle. So the economy cycles, and we are at the apex. We are at the apex. This happens all the time. This is not end of the world. It's not that another 2008 is happening. But we are long in the tooth on this, okay? When unemployment is this low, that is a lagging indicator, and that shows us that we are getting to tip, which means that our spending habits are going to start to slow down and start to change. And when we start spending less, because we used to be a country that manufactured, we don't manufacture anymore. Now we are a consumer spend. We take in, which is another reason why we have a trade deficit, because as Americans, we consume more than any other country. So if we stopped consuming as much from all the other countries, it would kind of almost be like a self-imposed tariff without having, any issues. But with us being so late in our economic cycle, what's happening is that spending is already slowing down. Well, if you take and you put unnecessary tariffs on stuff where people used to be able to buy things for cheaper, they're not going to buy those things. And what you're going to do is you're going to end up actually speeding up the economic cycle and tipping us into a pullback in the market and those types of things. One of the last things that you really want to think about when you think about tariffs, and we've talked about demand decreasing and those types of things, is that think about in 2008. When we were going through 2008, what ended up happening first before the massive layoffs came, or actually probably in conjunction with them, is that when a company is looking to cut things out of their bottom line, if their decision is not to actually lay off people, or maybe they're trying to stall laying off people, whatever, the first place they're going to go to try to cut fat is going to be employee benefits. So when we had in 2008, we had a ton of casinos that went from matching in 401ks for 1, 2, 3, maybe 5, 6% to nothing. So 2008, 9, 10, 11, nothing. They matched nothing, not anything. So you could put in as much money in your 401k to save for your retirement in a shit stock market, which is what we had until 2009, with no actual match. Then after 2011, when they felt that they were out of the works, they actually matched $500, and that was it.
Wow.
So what you have is you have a decrease in demand because of tariffs, and then what you're going to start seeing is you're going to start seeing that the benefits are starting to be pulled out. And the reason why we haven't seen that yet is because right now unemployment numbers is still really low. And the reason why is because we are at the end of an aging cycle. Unemployment numbers tell us where we came from. We came from a time where we are in, a climbing economic cycle. That's telling us where we've been. The leading indicators would be housing starts and stock market turns and that types of stuff. And those indicators are the ones that are telling us where we're going. So, the only, and I know I sound like I've been bagging on tariffs, and I don't mean to be bagging on tariffs. And one of the pretty good arguments for having tariffs around would be, so there's a concern with China right now. And the fact that, China has tariffs on steel and this kind of thing. So a couple of years ago, China came in, they mass-produced steel very, very cheaply, and they ended up, over the global pricing of steel, they ended up dropping the price of steel because they came into the market so much cheaper. Everybody had to drop their prices of steel to be able to compete with them. When they did that, if it's cheaper for the United States of America or other countries to buy steel from China than produce it here, then for efficiency's sake, it makes sense that you should buy the cheaper material and no longer have steel manufacturing plants here. So they started closing. And what ended up happening is as the United States came off of the World War II and the manufacturing, we turned into a more of a consumer-based economy. So the concern is that, let's say if you're, since China seems to be the big target, if you have China drops the price of steel, so they drop the price of steel globally because everybody tries to compete, all the other countries stop producing their own steel because it's so much cheaper to buy it from China. And then China changes and decides to spike up the price of steel. Then you have all these countries who were producing steel but now have stopped, who are not in a position where they can just open up a steel industry and then everything just gets churning and burning again. And so the whole concern is that we would be at the mercy of China. And historically, that just hasn't happened.
Right.
So, but that would be, a logical conclusion with the tariffs. And I know that, guys, look, I get it. I know this is really boring. And I know that the podcast is often funnier than talking about tariffs and things like that. But this is the stuff that you're hearing constantly. And with China telling us that they were going to give us tariffs by June 1st, this is a big deal. When our administration originally decided to put tariffs on China, this was at the beginning of the year, and it took about 3 to 4 months before the tariffs hit. And so what you had is you had the market charge, and everybody was like, see, the tariffs are good. The market, the stock market's good. The economy's strong. No. All the importers were buying a whole bunch of shit to get in front of the tariffs. And so what we ended up seeing is we ended up seeing a run up in the stock market before the tariffs were implemented. China has not been as assertive with their tariffs. So for them to have the meeting and then decide immediately June 1st, knowing that there is no way that they're going to come to an agreement before June 1st, that shows an escalating situation. And if you have a situation where neither wants to back down, you just keep piling tariffs after tariffs after tariffs. And with these next round of tariffs that will be put on China, that is going to put an additional $30 billion a year on the economy. And going back to our $5 example, that is literally $30 billion out of our economy every single year.
In taxes.
And well, yeah, because the tariffs isn't a tax, but it doesn't work like a tax, but it's best explained as a tax. No, it's in buying power. It's in actual money. It's in your gas tank. It's in restaurants. It's in those types of things.
Oh, I get it. It's kind of like taxes.
Yes, it's just
Just
like
like
that.
taxes.
Just like
Yeah.
that,
For
Stormy.
the lay folk
Thank
like
you.
me, I'm going to call it a tax.
Yeah.
You can call it whatever the hell you want. It's a tax.
And so the real question is, and this is a touchy subject, and I don't expect us to have any kind of answers, but I really want people to think about it, is should we save industries that we're not efficient at? So, again, the American worker is highly paid. So you have the automotive unions, you have automotive workers. They have nice benefits that they fought for and those types of things, which has undoubtedly made it more expensive for cars to be made in the United States versus in Mexico. Would it behoove us, instead of doing tariffs, to take those people that grew up in the auto industry, retrain them, move them into careers that we can produce more efficiently, we can produce items more efficiently, stop trying to make things that we're not really good at? And would that have an overall better effect to the economy? That's really kind of the key question. And I don't have the answer. I'm just putting it out there.
So the question was, should
What
we
was the
kill
question
the
again?
industries that we're inefficient at?
No, should we? Yeah, I mean, so should we stop not kill them? That sounds horrible, Stormy.
Okay.
But should we take work? So if we make automobiles inefficiently, would it not be better for us to let other countries who can do it cheaper, so that we can have, as Americans and everybody global community, can have the benefit of those cheaper cars, and refocus our workers and retrain them to do something that we are very good at?
Guitars.
Yeah, I mean, a number of things. Well, I was going to say Americans produce Harley Davidsons, but they don't actually. All of the pieces are imported, and we just make them here. So, anyway, that's just theoretical.
Well, I don't know.
Let us
I mean,
know what you think.
yes, that's not what you think.
No, I'm saying our listeners should let us
Well,
know
here's
what
the
they
deal.
think.
I'm actually against the idea. Let me just tell you why.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, if you were to ask my wife, if you were to ask her, is Stormy efficient at making love? She
Uh-huh.
would say no. So there you go.
And we'd agree with her. I mean, that sounds kind of weird. Not that we have Sandra. We don't know. We're
No,
actually
we don't know.
we're just
Wait,
assuming.
Sandra, you
to
heard
know.
that? Sandra, did you hear that?
We're just assuming. We're
There
just
you go.
assuming.
There you go.
So anyway, so that was the boring part of
that
the
was
podcast.
Yeah, I had to add some humor that didn't quite make it, but that's okay.
That's all right. I know.
I was laughing on the inside.
Yeah. Not and
I was dying. I didn't
and guys, sometimes finances suck and they're boring as fuck, but
it
there's
is
stuff you need to
important
know.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you need to know this when you're electing politicians, and you need to not let the wool be pulled over your eyes and be told that China's paying the tariffs when they're not.
Right.
So, to lighten the mood, we're going to dim the lights and put on some. What are we going to listen to, Stormy?
Wet, wet, wet.
Yeah.
Kind of creepy now.
It's still kind of creepy. It's still kind of creepy. We're going to turn it over to Zoe, who's going to lighten the mood and talk to us a little bit about some bands from other countries to get the bad taste of tariffs out of your mouth.
Yeah, so we thought we would lighten the mood a little bit by talking about, as the gorgeous Mel O said, some bands that we have imported without tariffs, probably. And one of the biggest imported bands has to be ABBA, wouldn't you say?
Actually, I
ABBA?
was going to go with Scorpions.
Well, we'll get there in a minute. Let me just start with ABBA because I have a lot to say about
Because she wants to
ABBA.
start with ABBA.
Yes.
So I wouldn't say they're our biggest
Yeah.
imported band.
Yeah,
But
they are. Oh my goodness! If you
they had like 2 songs.
Are you fucking shitting
They had like
me?
2 songs.
I am going to have to. I apologize,
Fernando.
grandmother. There are so many songs. So they are a Swedish legend.
Swedish what?
Legend.
Oh,
Hey, wait.
Megan?
So when I go on Google and I type in "is ABBA," the first thing that pops up, "still alive."
Oh,
That's the first thing.
they are coming
You
out.
can check
with,
it.
They are coming out with a new song this year. By the way, now does
A
anyone
whole new song?
a whole new song? Anyone know where the name of ABBA comes from?
It's something backwards, right?
thought
Or no,
it
it's their initials.
It is.
It's the initials of the band.
Agnetha, Bjorn, Benny, and Annie, and they were all married to each other. Well, not to each other, but Agnetha and Bjorn were married, and Benny and Annie were married, but they're not anymore. But anyway, so
Fleetwood Mac, same thing.
what?
Fleetwood Mac, same thing.
Yeah. Anyway, we're talking about ABBA because they came from Sweden, obviously, and they became big in 1974 when they won the Eurovision Song Contest. And of course, you don't care about that, but the Eurovision Song Contest has just been and gone, and England, well, UK came last, which is no great surprise to me. But anyway, so they won the Eurovision Song Contest in 1974 with their song Waterloo.
Do you know that song, Stormy?
Waterloo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're not supposed to sing it. You're supposed
Yeah.
to see if he could sing it.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter, even though she sung it. I still don't know it, but I know it
Good
now.
for you.
Waterloo. Why, yeah.
No,
That's how I
wet,
Was it
sing
close?
it. That's how I sing it. They have estimated record sales of 300 to 400 million. So that's quite a lot, right?
I mean, well, okay, so you have to measure that. You can't just say that, yeah, that seems like a lot, but over what span of time? If their first album came out in 70 and it's 2019, is that a lot? Technically, no.
Well, they had a break for quite a while.
I'm trying to make up for that boring tariff conversation. I'm trying to still
Yeah.
put a little bit of finances in there without putting you guys to sleep. Anyway, go on, Zoe.
So everyone name their favorite ABBA song. No,
Fernando.
Stormy, you can't even think of one, can you?
Dancing Queen.
Yeah, of course, that's everyone's favorite.
Yeah, I just looked it up on Google.
Oh,
Do you know
come
Dancing
on.
Queen, though?
I know Dancing Queen.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So they had a bit of a resurgence in the 90s. I need to mention these 2 movies because they're 2 of my favorite movies. Muriel's Wedding and The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert were 2 big Australian movies in 1994. And if you haven't seen them, you should. And they contain a lot of
I haven't. Isn't Patrick Swayze in the Queen of the Desert one?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. And okay, I'm not even going to go any further. ABBA is
Wait.
one of the big imports from Sweden. What do you want to say?
So I've got something.
Okay.
What's
so
that?
who has sold
Does it
more
hurt?
albums, right? I don't know that song.
Which one?
I said, does it hurt? He said he's got something. I said, does it hurt? Yeah. Does it itch?
Okay, go ahead.
They've got Cream for that, but that's a different story.
Right.
So ABBA, Rolling Stones, Spice Girls, U2. Who has sold more albums?
Please don't tell me
ABBA,
it's the Spice Girls.
Rolling Stones, Spice Girls, and U2.
I would say Rolling Stones.
I'm going Spice
but
Girls.
I'm going to be disgusted if it's the Spice Girls.
I'm going Spice Girls.
Actually, ABBA.
Really?
Followed by the Rolling Stones,
Right, okay.
followed by the Spice Girls, followed by U2.
Which is sad that the
How
Spice
is
Girls
that?
outsold U2. But
It
the worst
is.
part is that Zoe didn't even bet on the Spice Girls, and that came from her country.
I did. I said, didn't I?
No.
Oh, no.
No.
I said, oh, all right. I can't even. I did.
Wow, ABBA has sold more than Rolling Stones? Is that crazy or
That
what?
is nuts.
Okay.
Okay, so what other
I
band?
wouldn't have
Okay,
guessed that.
okay, we all know that Zoe loves ABBA.
I do love
Zoe
ABBA.
and ABBA sitting in a tree. Okay, we get it. All right,
Okay.
so go on to another band.
Okay. From Sweden or a different country? Do you want to name a country?
Well, well, Germany, obviously the Scorpions.
Yes. Can you hear my notes?
Yes, I can.
Germany, Scorpions, yes.
Also, Rammstein, which I know is not on your list.
I have no idea who they are.
They sing Du Hast. They sing Fire Flower. I can't. It's because it's all in German.
Are they hard rock, heavy metal?
Oh yeah, and he is
shouty
hot
type?
as fuck. He used to be an Olympic swimmer, and he does like cartwheels on the stage with pyrotechnics off of his boots. He's a hottie.
Also from Germany.
Also from Germany.
Oh, great songs, and I probably will sing them all to you. Who remembers Boney M?
Nobody.
I don't even know what Boney M is.
Oh
He
my
said Boney
goodness,
M.
Boney M. They're from
You
Germany.
can keep repeating it. I still don't know who it is.
They did Rasputin, Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen. No? Oh, and
Where does she get these crazy ass bands?
I remember playing.
She saw them at Glastonbury.
No, I didn't.
God.
When she was in the
Fuck
tent
you.
with the comedian.
My sister Sarah and I, it was one of the few songs, it wasn't even the LP. What was the
It's a
small-
45.
45, right? And we had Boney M, and I think it had Rivers of Babylon on one side and either Rasputin or... Anyway, so another one of their songs
Wait,
is
they had a
Rivers-
song named Rasputin.
Yeah, Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen. Anyway, that's one of their songs. And Rivers of Babylon was another. And then Mary's Boy Child was a little Christmassy
Oh,
one.
dear God. Is there
Oh,
anybody
it's
we know on that
fantastic.
list?
Okay, Snap. Rhythm is a dancer. Don't remember that?
I didn't know. Where are they from? Germany?
Yeah. Snap
You remember
was
that?
from-
Come on. That was early 90s
Oh,
music.
early 90s Boney
Yeah.
M.
You
Oh.
got the power. That
Yeah.
was them too.
That was Boney M?
No,
No.
we moved on to Snap now. Boney M was
Snap.
from the 70s.
They were out in the time when like the Night of the Roxbury soundtrack came out, and what is love, baby? Don't hurt me. Don't
Don't
that whole
hurt
all
me.
that music sounded
Yeah,
the
it
same.
did all
It
sound
all
the same.
sounded the same. Yeah.
Anyway, Snap is from Germany.
Okay, so let me ask you a
Pardon
question.
me. Yep.
Daddy Cool. Who's that?
I don't know.
Oh.
Is he from another country? Otherwise, it's not relevant.
I think Daddy Cool is the dude that's on Boney M, their lead singer.
Oh, Daddy Cool, is he? Oh, I
She
remember
didn't
what he
even know.
looked. No, but
She
I know
didn't
what
know.
he looked like.
Daddy
I
Cool.
knows what he looks
I was thinking.
like.
I thought you were trying to say Big Daddy Kane.
No, and it may not. Maybe that's not. I'm just looking at something on YouTube and it says Boney M, Daddy Cool.
Yeah,
so I'm
I
like,
bet-
okay,
I bet
let's
it
go with
was.
that. It could be a song.
Oh, they had. Oh, it was so 70s. Me and my sister would sing.
Yeah,
to
maybe
it.
that's the song, Daddy Cool. I think it's
Anyway.
the song, not the singer.
Now I got Big Daddy Kane in my head. Okay.
Oh, Big Daddy.
Okay, pick another country, people, and I'll give you some bands from there.
Bangladesh.
Oh, you.
Well, you did say
Stormy.
you
You
did say
said-
pick another country,
And I did.
and he did.
Okay, try again.
Canada.
Okay, Canada, yes. Neil Young,
I did not know Neil Young was Canadian.
yeah.
How can you be an American folk singer from Canada? Pamela Anderson is also Canadian. I don't know how I just drew those
She's got nothing to do
those
with
two lines. Well, I mean, some people say she was poetic as she ran.
poetic. Yeah,
I think that's where my head
yeah.
went. I think that's
Right.
why
Yeah,
I
that's one
connected the
thing.
two of them.
Alanis Morissette.
Yeah, I know she was, and
Yep.
she used to be more like she used to be like a pop singer, like a all happy go lucky dancer. And then when she came across, she did Jagged Little Pill, and she remade herself.
Wow.
Joni Mitchell.
My mother loves Joni Mitchell.
Rush.
Yeah, I knew.
Isn't that something that you
I wouldn't have known that one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Rush is Canadian, and but they're prog rock, and I'm not into prog rock. I think Rush is a great band, but I'm not into prog rock.
Leonard Cohen, one of my dad's favorites.
And he passed, so
Yeah.
rest in peace, Leonard Cohen.
If you could, on our playlist, put Hallelujah for me and my dad.
I will.
Thank you. Drake. Is that someone you like?
Yeah, we knew Drake was from Canada.
Yeah,
Okay.
I knew he was from Canada. Not a huge fan of his, obviously, but yeah.
Okay, pick a country that I may have some bands from, please, Stormy.
Iceland.
Yes.
That's
You-
where I was about to go.
Was it?
You were
Iceland or
not.
Greenland.
How about Bjork?
Yeah. New York is the only one I know.
Only
That's why
one,
I said
right.
it.
And she was in the Sugar Cubes first, and then she went out on her own, and she's a crazy little munchkin Bjork.
Yeah, with
So,
her swan dress.
Yes, I love Bjork.
Her
Mo-
video scared me.
Which one?
She had the one video where there was this big mean looking teddy bear. I know there's listeners
yeah.
right now that are sitting there and they know the song, they're probably screaming at it. It's the only video of hers that they played on MTV. And at the end of the video, the teddy bear eats her. And the teddy bear walks away, and she's sitting in his stomach, like, crying.
Which one is that?
I don't know.
It's oh so quiet. It's not that one.
I don't know. All I know is that video by Bjork, and I just remember seeing, like, why is there a killer teddy bear, and why is she in his tummy? And it freaked me out.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
Okay, how about France? We have...
Who cares about France?
Not me, so okay. Moving on.
Oh, the French fries.
No, shut up.
You're not familiar with that group?
No, I'm not familiar with
You
the
The French fries.
So making
No,
it up.
I'm sorry. Wait,
okay,
say
I'm
it
telling
slower and louder.
The French fries.
Oh, yeah, totally. I totally know this.
Is it Le French fries,
La
perhaps?
French
Le.
fries.
What's the plural? Les French fries?
Les French fries. But actually, there is a couple of... I liked Air, A-I-R, Air. They did Sexy Boy. No, we don't know them either?
Yeah, I
no?
don't think so.
Okay, all
No.
right. We'll move on from there too then. Australia.
Australia.
You can all think of quite a few from Australia.
AC/DC.
Yep,
Bee Gees.
of course.
Men at work.
Yes.
Men at Work. Because they come from a land down under. Good one.
I come from the land down under.
Vegemite sandwich.
Sandwich. We
Yep.
just heard that earlier at our favourite place that we go to before we record our podcast.
Hey, where did Oingo Boingo come from? Is that Australia?
I think he's Canadian or American. Oingo Boingo? I don't think they're Australian. What other bands from Australia besides what we...
In Excess?
Oh, that's
In Excess.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, American New Wave band Oingo Boingo.
The thing, why can't I think of his name? The guy from Oingo Boingo, he does a whole bunch of music
movies,
scoring.
doesn't he?
Yeah, movies and music scoring. He did the Simpsons theme song. So if you guys have been keeping up with our social media podcasts, you will see about a bazillion Simpson memes on there because I'm a diehard Simpsons fan, and he wrote the Simpsons theme.
Danny Elfman?
Danny Elfman. Yep. And he also, I believe, he wrote the music for like Edward Scissorhands and tons and
Wow.
tons and tons of movies. And everybody thinks Oingo Boingo just had like Dead Man's Party and all that kind of stuff, and that they, were just kind of a passing fancy. But he's a very well-renowned music scorer, and he's on demand.
I really thought it was
Never even heard of
Australia, so my bad.
Yeah, he is American, right? They're American.
Yeah, they're American. So,
Okay.
but we were in Australia, or Zoe was taking us to Australia, and I thought they were an Australian.
I was going to
band.
leave you there too, Stormy, to be quite honest. But
Are you dropping us off?
no, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. I love Nick Cave.
Dear God, with these
Really?
damn bands.
Who's that? I've never heard of them.
You haven't heard of
Nick Cave and
Nick
the
Cave
Seeds?
and the Bad Seeds.
The Bad Seeds.
And the bad does
Yeah,
not make
I
that
don't think
name
so.
any better.
Nick Cave. He's a fantastic musician. You need to play something from him on the playlist. He actually lived in England for a long time, and it's very, very sad. He's actually moved to LA now. One of his twin sons died tragically, age 15, fell off
Wow.
a cliff in Brighton, which is near where my sister lives, a couple of years ago. But anyway, he's very, very talented, kind of dark musician. But you would
Like dark like rock music.
Um,
What is your dark? Because I don't think you and I have the same dark. Because
No.
you were talking about exports and imports, and one of the things that Norway is notorious for is Norwegian death metal.
oh God.
So that's dark. So I don't know if you're calling it dark is in my equivalent of what dark is. I don't think those are the same.
No, but I think you would like him actually. So
I don't know. Well, I'll put
Look
him
it
on I'll put him on the playlist, and we'll see.
okay, and then how about Shakira from Colombia?
Yes, of course, Shakira. Yeah, she can. My goodness,
She's
she really can move.
She can move.
It's ridiculous. What was that one video where she had the dress? Yeah, no, she had the.
That's even worse than me.
Yeah, I can't remember. She had the dress and it had fringes coming off of it, and they showed her, and she was. I'm shaking so the audience can see, and I'm doing my little
Yeah.
belly dancing thing.
Absolutely.
And she was just everything was moving on her, and she's a little tiny thing, and everything was still moving on her.
I like her.
I mean, she's hot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How about?
Did you see the she-wolf video when she was in the cage?
Oh, absolutely.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'd moved on. I wasn't letting Stormy have his full. Absolutely.
Well, I know, and I brought up she-wolf. Okay, go ahead.
Gloria Estefan from
Oh, she
Cuba.
doesn't really count
Yeah.
though. She's more
Why?
American.
Yeah, she's Cuban and she sings some in Cuban, right? Well,
You mean
Latin,
Spanish?
Spanish, whatever it is.
I don't think it's. I've never. You know what? I actually have a friend. Olivia is Cuban. Maybe I'll ask her if she speaks Cuban.
Yeah, ask her. Say whatever it is that you speak. Going back to. Let's not. Did we Sweden? We did Europe. Did you?
We didn't do Europe. I just did Germany.
Okay. We just
we
let
did
ABBA
France, remember?
represent Sweden, did we? But we also have Nana Cherry and Eagle Eye Cherry. They're from Sweden. I know you hate Buffalo Stance, and I don't know why I love that song.
Because it's when it first came out, I liked it. There's too much things. There's too many things going on. You know what we're talking about, right?
No,
I always hang in a buffalo stance. Dun and some we dance.
Nope.
I'll give you love and a night romance.
Nope.
Make sure
Hey,
you
sucker!
Nope.
don't you get fresh with me?
me.
Do 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 do. There's too much. No money, man. Can now I have it in my fucking head.
Oh, it's such a great.
And the video
song.
was horrible too. And
Oh,
when
no,
it came
I
out, I
love
loved it.
her.
And now
I
if I
love her.
hear it, I want to claw my fucking eyes out.
How about the song she did with Yusun Dor? 7 seconds.
Who are these people? I think you're just making up sounds at this point. I don't think any of them are actually real names to anybody or anything.
They are.
She's like, don't you remember? They played. All right.
Did any of these bands sing the Double Dutch Bus?
I have
No, that was
idea
it. No, double Dutch, but no, that was it. That was they were United States. I can't remember who did it though, but going down something.
And then, of course, let's not forget the longest list ever.
Last but not least, here we go. UK.
UK. I mean, I just could go
All right,
on
go
all
ahead.
day.
List them all. Just get them out. Get it out of your system.
Beatles, Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Fleetwood Mac, Elton John, Adele,
Oh,
Coldplay,
Fleetwood Mac
Oasis.
is not
It's not from United Kingdom?
Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
Mick Fleetwood. No, he's not British. We're gonna have to Google that shit, Stormy, because Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks are definitely American. They met them in California, I believe. All right, go ahead. Keep going on your list. We're double checking your Fleetwood Mac.
Elton John, Adele,
Clearly.
Coldplay, Oasis, George
Wait, Adele's
Michael.
British? I honestly didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, very. She talks like this, mate. All right, Adele, you think
I know,
all
but
right,
I
and
only
then she
hear her
sounds
sing.
beautiful.
I know.
But yeah, no, she talks like that, mate. She's from London. Coldplay, Oasis, George Michael, Eric Clapton, Rod Stewart,
Eric Clapton.
Queen, Phil
Okay.
Collins, Sade, Radiohead.
Sade is not from England.
Well,
Fleetwood Mac. Let's take care of the Fleetwood Mac controversy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then
Fleetwood
Sade is not.
Mac
Yeah.
are a British American rock band formed in London.
Yeah, the original Fleetwood Mac was. They were a blues band, but then when they came over here, that's when they
came
picked up
over here. We're
when
talking
they
about
came over-
importing, right?
They're
when
saying
they
a
came-
British blues band according to Wikipedia.
right, and then they came over here, and Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks joined them. So I'm not going to
But
give
I'm
you British.
sorry.
I'm not going to give you a British band. I'm not doing it.
Well,
There's American in that.
we-
There's
yeah, but
Yeah.
some would
British
say
American. They started
They-
in
they
Britain.
started
some would
in
say the
Britain.
most talented members. Even though Lindsey Buckingham's no longer with them, I'm just saying some would say the most
Oh, yeah.
talented.
So here's the deal.
Uh,
They started in 1967. It wasn't until 1974 where they were introduced to Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham.
That's when they got
So
good.
that's quite a few years prior to.
Yeah, but they didn't get good till they got the Americans. Is all I'm saying.
So I'm gonna go with Zoe on this one.
yeah,
No,
because
okay.
I
They're a British
thought the
band.
whole point was that these were bands that have been imported.
Okay.
Imported.
So,
All right. Well, and Sade is Brazilian.
no, she's not. She's from Trinidad and Tobago or something, but she grew up in England. Look that shit up right now.
I thought she was Brazilian.
No. Look that shit right. I think she's Jamaican or Trinidadian.
I'm gonna
or
buy
something,
Zoe
but
a
she
shot if
she was
Sade is
born-
British.
Look that shit right
I'm
right
looking.
up now.
If I had it, I'd pour you a shot. We'd go right now, Zoe.
And two other bands that were from the UK but did better over here were Bush, who we've talked about before, and Judas Priest.
Yes, and you also forgot Black Sabbath,
Oh,
Iron
there's plenty
Maiden,
more. Yeah.
Hey, how do you spell Sade?
SADE with the little whoosh over the E.
No, there's no whoosh over the E.
Yeah, there is.
The fucking is not.
I
It's
have
like
her
having
CDs.
so do I. There's
has a
no whoosh over the E. Like there's no umlaut over my E in Zoe. There's no umlaut.
Is that what it's called? Is it umlau? Didn't know that.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
From Wikipedia. Sade.
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 Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Or simply Sade is a British Nigerian singer.
Oh, Nigerian.
Songwriter, and actress. So you're out again.
All right. Okay. Then I will get Zoe a shot next time before we record.
So it's not Sade?
It's
No,
not Sade.
It's Sade.
It's Sade.
Either way, you lose.
So did we finish our tour of the world?
I think so. I was just gonna. No, I think I'm done. I'm just gonna. No,
Are you sure you don't have anybody from Bangladesh? Are you sure? Before we sign off here.
no.
So also one of the things that we did not talk about is K-pop.
Oh, we should for sure. Yes.
Yes, invading this country, and now we've had our first K-pop band finally get through, and I think there's I swear to God, 6 or 7 kids in that band, and I can't even,
At least.
picture them, but they were on SNL. Yeah, it's like Earth, Wind, and Fire up on that bitch. So, but all Korean candy pop coming in, which is pretty sad. So we need to get metal back, importing in, and less K-pop and those types of things.
Okay. Wait a second. I found it.
Okay.
Found what?
Zynga was the first rock music group of Bangladesh.
Oh, well done.
Zynga. You need to add Zynga.
I will. I'll find.
You
find
must. Yeah. Add
something
it to our
by
playlist
Zynga. It'll be the last song.
so that you can. All
So you can
just-
skip right through it, and you can skip right through all this horrible shit that only Zoe knows, and you can get straight to the Zynga. That's really what's important.
There it is.
Listen and learn, people. There's
As a matter of
some
fact,
good music in there.
just fast forward at the beginning of this. I'm just going to put a disclaimer. Just fast forward all the way to the very last 5 minutes of the podcast, and then go to the Spotify playlist that we have, and
Yes.
go to the very last song, and then you're going to get the best parts of the podcast.
The Bangladeshi
That's exactly the
music.
case.
Yes.
and-
But you're telling them at the end.
I know. I'm going to put it at the front too. I'm going to move it at the front too.
a disclaimer.
Maybe people like to listen from back to the front. You don't know. It could happen.
It could.
Yes.
Oh, wait. They also had the Rambling Stones.
No, come on.
They had the Rambling Stones.
No.
do?
Yes. Zynga, the Windy Side of Care, the Lightnings, and the Rambling Stones.
I don't know how Rolling Stones let them get away with that, because I know Rolling Stones is trademark. They better get on the
No, but
Rambling
a Rolling
Stones.
Stone and a Rambling Stone are totally different.
Yeah.
No,
'cause
they're not.
A Rolling Stone gathers no moss.
Yes.
A rambling stone just.
Yes.
Does it
Yes.
doesn't doesn't
I
have
don't
anything.
know.
If somebody says, "Hey, I used to tour with the Rambling Stones," you're implying.
I want to go and see the rambling
You're implying. You're
So
implying.
bad.
They're like, I'm sorry. Did you say the Rolling Stones? Huh? What? No.
What?
Yeah, the Rambling
Yeah,
Stones. The Rolling.
Yeah.
The Rambling.
With Mike Jagger. Love him.
All right. Well, thank you for sitting through this episode and getting through our boring financial part. You guys have a good day. Make sure that you follow us on social media at Finance is the Other F Word, and check out our playlist on Spotify. Thank you for listening.
Cheerio.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you like us, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.